It's a great pleasure to be in this espresso chat of the IDB with Minister of Finance of Guyana, Dr. Singh. Minister, welcome.
Thank you very much, Anabel. It's a great pleasure for me too.
Thank you. I wanted to invite you to a coffee so that we can chat about Guyana's, the opportunities, the challenges, and how we can continue to work together, Guyana and the IDB. We're talking here about the fastest growing economy in the world, huge natural resources, strong commitment to sustainability, also very important work doing in investing in human capital, but then of course also challenges, climate resilience, and others, and we're working together in these spaces. So I wanted to start this conversation by asking you, so what are the key priorities in the government's agenda?
Sure. So first of all, thank you very much for inviting me to join you. It's particularly a great pleasure for me because the IDB has been a reliable development partner to Guyana over the long term. And as I reflect now on the entirety of our engagement, the entire period of our engagement with the bank, I can think of multiple examples of the bank providing support to Guyana and of us working together on addressing the critical issues of the time as Guyana has gone through successive phases of economic development. But in response to your particular question in terms of our government's priorities in the current period, you quite rightly pointed out that Guyana is now and for the last few years has been the fastest growing economy in the world. And a lot of that, of course, is driven by our discovery of oil and the commencement and ramping up of production of oil. I have been at pains to emphasize on every occasion that I speak about this, that we're producing oil, we're coming to the production of oil with what I have described as late movers advantage. We more typically hear about early movers advantage. And so we're doing it at a time when we have the opportunity to look at everybody else who has done this before us, so many others who have done this before us. And we're able to see examples of that which has worked and therefore is worthy of emulation, and that which has not worked and therefore is worthy of careful avoidance. And so in the first instance, we want, of course, and we have been making a special effort to make sure that we navigate this period in a manner that in time will be cited as a good example of an economy and a country and a government managing its resource endowment in a manner that is recommendable and worthy of emulation to others. Secondly, and of equal importance, is ensuring rapid non-oil economic growth, because we've seen examples throughout time of economies that became solely or heavily dependent on a single sector and the perils that come with that. And so we're using this period to ensure that we invest in the things that are most important to unlock the potential of the non-oil economy. So to give you just a few examples, investment in infrastructure that is critical for the competitiveness of the non-oil economy and that will catalyze private sector-led growth and in particular promote ease and efficiency of trade. So for example, transport infrastructure, including some projects that are really very core to the IDB's hemispheric mandate. So to give you one example, we're building out a road that will connect our Atlantic coast to the northern states of Brazil, in particular the Roraima state in Brazil. That, of course, fits very smoothly into some of the regional thematic issues that we're discussing in the IDB, like, for example, the Southern Connection.
Yes.
Energy infrastructure is also absolutely critical to us because we need adequate levels of electricity produced reliably and produced competitively to ensure that we can see the emergence of a competitive manufacturing sector in Guyana. For a long time, we've been an exporter of primary commodities, but we have tremendous potential if we have affordable and reliable energy. So we're investing heavily in energy infrastructure. And then recognizing how important it is to ensure that the people of Guyana, all of the people of Guyana, see improvement in their lives as a result of what is taking place in the economy. Investing in people, and in particular, you mentioned human capital development. And so, in particular, I want to mention education and healthcare, because we want to make sure that every single Guyanese person, irrespective of where they live, is able to get access to good quality healthcare and good quality educational opportunities, not only as a means of personal and household empowerment, but also as a means of ensuring that we have a suitably skilled workforce to meet the requirements of the very dynamic situation in Guyana. And here again, the IDB is playing a very important role and continues to partner with us, including in both of those areas, including in education and in healthcare. And so, you know, I could go on for a very long time, but those are just to give you a flavor.
I see your passion.
Just to give you a flavor of some of the things that we are doing.
Absolutely.
So essentially to manage the period of rapid economic growth in a manner that will be sustainable and demonstrates you know, a good example to the rest of the world. Investing in the critical infrastructure prerequisites that are needed for non-oil competitiveness, and investing in people. If I might mention one other point before I pause for a minute, we also are very proud of our climate credentials. And so we have a vast, pristine rainforest. And of course, here again, the IDB has a hemispheric initiative, Amazon Forever.
Absolutely. Well, you have mentioned a number of areas where we have partnered with Guyana, and we're proud to work with you in so many of these areas. In going forward, Minister, what do you foresee as the most important elements of that collaboration?
So we will remain closely engaged with the IDB on, you know, on all aspects of the bank's mandate and availing ourselves of all of the instruments that the bank has at its disposal to support countries like ours. So we will remain engaged, for example, on the sovereign side, using all of the instruments that the bank has in its armory of sovereign operations. So to give you an example, I mean, over the years, we've benefited tremendously from policy-based loans, and and I can think of several examples of very good policy-based loans that we have implemented that have helped to get us to where we are today. So to give you just one example, we implemented a PBL that addressed the competitiveness of the business environment. And so that PBL, in fact, it was a hybrid operation. It had a PBL and it had an investment component. That hybrid operation they've had a very strong policy matrix that saw us implementing a number of reforms to improve the competitiveness of our business environment. And of course, it supported critical investments, investment component. Just to give you one example. So we're going to continue, we will remain engaged with the bank on all of its lines of business on the sovereign side, PBLs, investment loans, particularly I would say on the, like I said, infrastructure continues to be important for us, economic infrastructure, and in particular, the social sectors, education and health. But I want to say too that we see the engagement evolving, and it has started to evolve already. There was a time when the IDB did very little in Guyana in terms of private sector operations. And we spoke about this for a long time. I remember there was a time when I would come to successive annual meetings and speak about the need for the bank to do more private sector operations. We've seen that change now.
It's a very important change indeed. Huh?
Absolutely. And particularly given the pace at which the Guyanese economy is growing, and in particular given the pace at which private investors are investing in Guyana, the Guyanese economy is ripe with opportunities for the private sector arm of the bank to do more.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I will say that IDB Invest has responded to those opportunities. IDB Invest has significantly ramped up its operations in Guyana. It's done probably about, I would say from 2020 to now, it's done probably about $250 million worth of approvals in a vast array of sectors. And so I see, or we see rather, in the months and years ahead, we see continued engagement on the sovereign side of business, but we see and we anticipate and we expect a significant ramping up of the private sector side of the IDB's business in Guyana, and we would like to see that very much.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Minister. We look forward to continue partnering with Guyana on both the private sector and the sovereign side. And thank you very much for joining us here at IDB Espresso Chats.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for
Thank you,
inviting me.
Minister.
Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.